For anybody who missed one of the earlier episodes where I pulled the head off of my 258 4.2 straight 6 1981 CJ7, this is it. I showed a little bit of it before. It's pretty darn grimy. Lots of caked on carbon here, flaking off. I'm not sure what the seats are going to look like or anything, but this is where I'm going to tear this down and see what we have. But yeah, it's really dirty, and so very heavy too. So I'm going to go ahead and here's the rockers. I'm going to go ahead and pull these off right now and just go ahead and start disassembling everything on it before it goes off to the machine shop, where I'm not sure whether I'm going to use these rockers or not, springs and everything, and whether I need to check to see whether the guides are still good, and the seats will probably need some work. Not quite sure, but we're going to tear into it and go from there. Alright, I got everything loosened up. I'm gonna keep everything in order here, because I'm not quite sure what I'm going to be using them for. So just to real quickly, we'll take number 3 here. So there's the bridge, pretty basic setup. I just got the rockers are here. I'm not sure if I've ever seen a close-up of them. So those are the rockers. That's underneath. So you can see, I'm not sure how much wear is in the bottom where the push rods are coming up. So a little bit of wear there for the tops of the valves. Again, pretty straightforward. And then, again, I believe that's the bridge. It's holding them together. So that's just, all this stuff is really dirty. So that's pretty straightforward right there. All right, so that's all the rockers. I'm going to go ahead and work on the springs here. I got a valve spring compressor. I've never done this before, but we're going to give it a shot because I want to be able to pull these apart. I can put a link in the description to this, but we're going to do an open box assessment here, see how this works out. Alright, there you go. Egg crates work out great for a straight 6 because there you go. We usually get 2 valves, 2 springs, 2 rocker arms, 2... Anyway, works out pretty well.
I learned that after a couple of cranks, you can just tap the end with a hammer if it's still stuck and it'll pop out. But this one I put enough pressure on it where it did finally pop. But again, a lot easier just to do 1 or 2 turns and then give it a couple of taps with the hammers to get it loose, and then you can screw it in the rest of the way and loosen up to get those keepers out. Whoa.
All right, so those are the valves. Again, it's pretty goopy all the way around, and the shaft looks pretty clean and everything, but there's a ton. There's a huge, right there, there's a huge lip right where the carbon is, so there's a ton of it. And the valve edge there does not look very clean at all. I doubt I was getting too good of a seal there. All right, this one looks pretty similar. A pretty big edge on there. Pretty thick edge, a lot of carbon buildup there. The mating surface there looks a little bit better, a little shiny there instead of just completely covered in carbon. Everything here is pretty mucked up. All right, this thing is not super easy to use, and they're pretty stuck. I guess I just have to hold this steady here. Give a little pressure. Again, they're stuck. Give it a few pops with a hammer. Loosen up the valve. Loosen up the keepers from the that's there we go. Yeah, you just gotta pop it and then it comes loose. It's just stuck. Mine just happened to be really old and stuck. Good magnet works for getting the keepers out. Alright, so this is the last valve. I got all 12 of them out of there. They're all pretty much the same, just a lot of caked in carbon and oil and grease and dirt. Definitely need to be cleaned up, if not replaced. Yeah, so the edge there is real. Edge there looks like there's some pitting in there. And there's basically a lot of carbon buildup. Got all the springs and the keepers and the seals in there. All numbered and everything in case, I don't know, for whatever reason. As far as the valve spring compressor tool, it worked reasonably well. I think this pin just kept falling out. It goes through there. But other than that, it worked perfectly fine. It takes a few minutes. You just got to take your time, but it works perfectly fine. As far as the valve guides go, I think the valve guides are pretty good. I mean, there's just by eyeballing it, but just trying to move it up and down and side to side, there's almost no play. So I think the valve guides are pretty good. Let me try one of these other ones. The exhaust here. Yeah, also very, very little play. So you can see that a little bit side to side this way. I know that's just eyeballing it, but I'll find out about that from the machine shop and see what they say about it. In terms of the seats themselves, the intake there looks pretty, again, it's pitting. I mean, it definitely needs some work. It's scratched up. Exhaust here is just, there's just tons of caking. There's no way that there was any kind of seal going on there. So that's going to improve quite a bit. I may have to have these, hopefully just need them recut. But I may need to get some of these replaced. I'm not quite sure. But they all kind of look like that. The exhaust look pretty caked up. The intake has pitting in it. So we'll see what happens. But again, this thing is, see the casting there isn't even that very good. Yeah, that doesn't really matter right here, but yeah, this could definitely use some cleanup. One last comment about the ports here. I can see where, you can kind of see where the gasket was outlined there. I may end up porting this thing, I'm not quite sure. Looks like there's some room to increase the size of some of these intake and exhaust areas. So again, that's something else I'll ask them about and see if it makes sense to do that. So that's the full teardown. Everything is broken down. I went to the machine shop yesterday. I dropped everything off. They said they were going to evaluate it all and measure everything and take a look. They were able to confirm that I showed them the lip and the cylinder walls. They were like, yeah, it definitely needs to be rebored, but they're going to take a look at how much over. You know, we'll see what they have to say also on the valve guides and the valve seats, and even the valves themselves. They're going to go ahead and clean those up and see if they can be reused with recut seats or replaced seats. So again, they're just going to kind of go through everything and then let me know what they think I need to have done to it. And then it's time to start ordering parts, and then I'll bring it back here and start recording out, pulling it all back together. So subscribe if you want to look back at some of the teardown videos, or in another month or two, I'll be doing some more videos on putting it all back together. Try to break it up into some, segments that kind of make sense and try to figure it out. I got to do a lot of research to do and a lot of parts to order between now and then, but we'll see what happens.